Daryl Green is next. He says, what would be the realistic chances of seeing a new political party that represents those of us who are not extremists to be formed and thrived? Maybe we could call it the Constitutional Party. I'd love to call it the Constitutional Party, Daryl. I think I'll take the second part of that first. I don't think you're going to make it happen with the Constitutional Party. The words Constitution, founders, they're pulling down statues of George Washington now. So that's the kind of shape we're in now. They're pulling down, it's not pulling down statues of Nathan Bedford Forrest, not that I know that there ever were any up about him, mind you, and not just Robert E. Lee, and not just Columbus. They're pulling down statues of George Washington now. So the Constitution is, I'm very, very fond of this phrase because as far as I know, I came up with it, and I think it perfectly expresses the way the left looks at the Constitution. They look at it as a historical document suitable for framing and hanging in the rotunda of the Capitol as right next to Washington crossing the Delaware. That's how they look at it. It's when you stop enforcing the Constitution as the law, when you stop enforcing one part of it as law, then the whole thing, you can't just say, well, we're not going to enforce this, we're not going to enforce the Commerce Clause, or we're not going to enforce this, we're not going to enforce that, but we will enforce these things. Law doesn't work that way. And people's respect for the law doesn't work that way. You either enforce the law or you don't. We stopped enforcing the Constitution as law, God, I can't even, probably since ever, but not with this degree of brazenness. You just go out there with a microphone on the street today. Go out there with a microphone and go to places like Santa Monica Pier or Venice Beach or go to Portland or Seattle or UMass or any of these places, University of Florida for that matter, and walk around and ask people if they think that their constitutional rights are obsolete, whether or not, ask them to name 3. And they couldn't do it. And they would all start talking about, well, it was appropriate for 250 years ago, but surely it's, we have iPods now. Did I say iPods? I meant to say iPads. We have iPads now. We don't need something like this. So, again, no one's teaching it. And those of us that are trying to teach it are getting squashed, and they're getting away with it. And the reason they're squashing us is because they've seen how it works. So, now, to the first part of your question, I don't know how realistic the chances are, but without question, there's a political party out there that could represent 80% of the American public just fine. And the question is, what do you call it? Libertarian has not been tarnished yet that I'm aware of. I try to keep my ear to the ground on these things. Republican is, I'm finished with the Republican. I'll probably get to that in a minute. Conservative, no. Conservatives are old guys in, bow ties and suspenders and wearing steel rim glasses, round ones. They're George Will. George Will's a conservative. Nevertheless, if we could, libertarian has a pretty good ring to it, and it's a pretty easy thing to sell. Now, the Republican Party, as I said in today's Nexus report, got shellacked last night in Virginia, and some people saying, what's a big deal? It's off your election. It's a huge deal. They walloped us in Virginia. Now, Barack Obama lost them 1,000 seats, so they got a big hole to dig out of. But the fact is, they walloped us. And all of the press and all of the Democrats are spinning this as anti-Trump win for the Democrats, but I don't believe that at all. I think it's an anti-Republican win for the Democrats. I think, like you, like me, we are just sick to death of having fought for 10 years to send these people to Washington to repeal Obamacare and cut taxes. And they haven't done either. And so you hear, when the Obamacare repeals come up, you hear these Republican reptiles basically saying, well, I don't really want to, repeal Obamacare and then go home and face my electorate. Well, you're going to face your electorate, all right. You'll face the back of them as they're walking away from you. You're going to be, if you think that the people that put you in office are okay with this, you're going to get the surprise you deserve. And the surprise is going to be this cush little job that gives you all this power to spend and spend and spend and travel around and be the honorable senator from the great state of this and his honorable that. It's going to vaporize. It's going to go away after 2 years or 4 years for you because you didn't have the fundamental human integrity to do what you said you were going to do. The one things, one thing, two things, cut taxes, repeal Obamacare. You can't do that. And so you deserve to be out of office. And, I've said it when things were good, and I'm saying it when things are not good. People get the government they deserve, and we're going to get the government we deserve. I have said from the day that Donald Trump won this thing, almost exactly a year ago, a year ago tonight maybe, I have been saying if we look at this as a reprieve, if we look at it as a pardon rather, we're finished. It is a stay of execution. It is a temporary breathing space. And if we don't move into this breathing space and start kicking butt hard, then I don't know what the hell happens after that. But if things continue the way they're going, and people's attitudes towards, all of this stuff stays the same, then I'll tell you what will happen. There's no question what's going to happen because we saw it happen last night. In 2018, the Democrats will take the House and the Senate, both. And the next day, impeachment articles will be brought against Donald Trump. And if they have a significant majority, which I suspect will happen if the Republicans don't do anything, once we gave them the level of power, then Donald Trump will face impeachment charges. I suspect they'll probably be successful. And he'll be removed from office. And that'll mean Mike Pence will be powerless for a year or two. And if you think that they were socialists under Barack Obama, you wait to see what they're going to do as revenge for Donald Trump. And this is exactly, precisely what I was worried about. It's what I've been warning about, and it's happening right in front of my eyes. Just taking all of this stuff for granted. And everybody's thinking, well, maybe I'll take it. You let me know when the country's in bad enough shape, okay? You let me know when it's in bad enough shape for us to take it seriously, because no one's taking it seriously right now.